All right, let's dive into a car I know you're going to love.
Oh, yeah.
The Peugeot 306 S16.
A classic.
This deep dive is going to pair perfectly with our daily show, Vintage Car Chronicles.
Absolutely.
Make sure you check it out on Spotify, Deezer,
Apple Music,
YouTube, all those good places.
all the platforms.
So we're going to look at articles, some excerpts, really get into the history of this car.
Yeah, its evolution, how it drives, the whole 9 yards.
Exactly. And, this car, it wasn't just,
Stepping into any lineage.
no, it had some big shoes to fill.
It really did, following those icons, the 205 GTI, the 309 GTI.
It was carrying a lot of weight on its shoulders.
It was the torchbearer for Peugeot's sporty compacts, for sure.
Those cars were game changers. They really set the standard for hot hatches.
They did.
And Peugeot obviously wanted to keep that going with the 306 S16.
Of course.
But they had to deal with, the GPI label had kind of gotten a bit of a reputation by then.
Yeah, it had some baggage.
A little bit, yeah.
Especially in France, the GTI moniker had become...
A little notorious.
Yeah, a bit sulfurous, there were some high-profile accidents.
With the 205 GTI and 309 GTI owners.
Yeah, so Peugeot actually decided to avoid the GTI badge altogether for the 306 in France.
Wow, quite the PR problem there.
It was a big deal.
But even without the GTI badge, the 306 S16 still had a lot to live up to. People were expecting big things.
Oh, for sure. The expectations were sky high.
So did it deliver?
Well, the launch in '93, I'd say it was a mixed bag,
A little bit of a bumpy start?
Yeah, it came with the ACAV engine.
Yep.
150 horsepower. Not bad on paper, but it faced a lot of criticism.
Really?
Oh, yeah, especially from those who expected, the roar of its predecessors.
So the engine wasn't really all that.
It lacked that soul, that responsiveness that drivers were looking for, especially compared to, like, the Golf GTI or the Clio Williams.
Which were known for their performance.
Yeah, they were the benchmarks at the time.
And what's interesting is that the 306 S16 actually had a fantastic chassis.
Oh, the chassis was phenomenal.
It's like having a world-class athlete with, like, lead shoes.
That's a perfect analogy, honestly.
The chassis was so good, it just made the engine's shortcomings even more obvious.
Exactly. It highlighted the disparity, which was frustrating for a lot of people.
I could imagine.
Big time.
So did Peugeot do anything about this?
They did.
Okay, good.
In '96, they came back with a vengeance, a revamped 306 S16.
All right, round two.
Yeah, they replaced the ACAV engine with a 2-liter 16-valve beast.
Now we're talking.
167 horsepower, a proper hot hatch engine, and they paired it with...
What? Don't leave me hanging.
A 6-speed gearbox.
Wow, it's a big deal, especially back then.
It was a first for Peugeot, and Eric Bartholet from the Peugeot Museum, he actually talked about the unique feel of this gearbox,
Yeah.
It traces back to the 205 Group A rally car.
Wow, really?
Yeah, so much history there.
It's like they took the DNA from their rally car.
They did. It added a whole other level of precision and engagement to the driving experience.
It was like they finally gave that amazing chassis the engine it deserved.
Exactly. A match made in heaven.
So they fixed the engine. What about the chassis? Did they change anything there?
They knew better than to mess with perfection.
Smart move.
The 306 S16's chassis was its secret weapon. That auto-directional rear axle, the sharp steering, the perfectly tuned suspension, it was all there untouched.
It was already a joy to drive.
It was, and they wisely didn't mess with it.
So this second-generation 306 S16, this was the one, right?
This was the one they'd been waiting for.
This is the hot hatch everyone wanted.
It was the realization of the 306 S16's potential.
But the story doesn't end there, right?
Oh no, there's more.
There's always more.
In '97, Peugeot gave the 306 a facelift.
Okay.
Not just a little nip and tuck, this was a proper makeover.
So they weren't just messing around.
No, they wanted to modernize it, set it apart from the 205, give it a fresh look.
Interesting. Did it make it look even sportier?
Well, the 306 S16 always had a certain understated sportiness to it.
Right. It wasn't over the top.
It was more like a wolf in sheep's clothing.
I like that.
It didn't shout about its performance. It let the driving do the talking.
Subtle but powerful.
Exactly.
So what kind of changes did they make with the facelift?
Picture this. The 306 S16, sleek, elegant lines.
Yeah.
They redesigned the front end.
Okay.
Sleeker headlights, integrated indicators,
Nice.
simplified grille, updated taillights.
It was like they cleaned up the design, made it even more modern.
Exactly. More refined, more contemporary. And most of the 167 horsepower models, they came after this facelift.
Really? So the pre-facelift 167 horsepower versions are pretty rare then.
They are quite sought after by collectors, too.
Good to know, especially if I ever decide to hunt one down.
Definitely something to keep in mind.
Okay, so let's talk about those subtle styling cues that make the 306 S16 stand out. What should we be looking for?
It wasn't about flashy design
No
elements.
big wings or anything?
Nope, no massive spoilers or bulging wheel arches. It was more understated, like the 15-inch alloy wheels, a discreet rear spoiler, maybe a subtle front splitter.
Yeah, those little details that hint at its performance without screaming about it.
Exactly. It was all about that sleeper look.
For people who value performance but don't need all the flash.
Exactly, and that philosophy continued inside the car as well.
Oh, yeah.
From 97 onwards, they offered 2 different trim levels for the S16,
Yeah.
Comfort and Premium.
I'm sensing some options here.
You got it.
What was the difference between the two?
The Comfort trim, that was for the purists, the ones who wanted a raw driving experience.
No frills.
Exactly. Stripped back to the essentials, lightweight, agile, just pure driving pleasure.
I bet that one was fun.
Oh, it was a blast. And then you had the Premium trim.
Okay, what did that one offer?
The Premium trim was, well, more premium. It came loaded with all the bells and whistles you could want in a hot hatch back then.
So you could choose between raw sportiness or a touch of luxury.
Exactly. A nice range of options.
Very cool. And I heard there were some special editions of the S16 too, right?
Oh, yeah. Some real collector's items.
Tell me about those.
Well, in 93, they released the Le Mans edition.
Mm-hmm.
To celebrate their racing victories, it came in this distinctive red and gold livery, unique badging, a real head-turner.
This is amazing.
It was. And then for those in the UK, they had the Rally edition.
Another special one.
Only 500 units made. It had this unique livery inspired by Peugeot's rally cars.
So more rally-focused look.
Exactly. And it was more stripped down,
A
performance-oriented.
true gem for UK enthusiasts.
For sure.
Okay, but we can't talk about the 306 S16 without talking about the rally version.
The 306 Maxi Kit car. A
Legendary.
proper rally monster built to take on the best.
And it did. It went head-to-head with some of the most powerful WRC cars out there.
It did, and it held its own.
I remember reading about its performance at the 1998 Tour de Corse. Incredible.
It was. Francois Delacour, he managed to snag 2nd place overall.
Second place overall against WRC cars.
Yeah, right behind Colin McRae and his Subaru Impreza WRC.
That's incredible. What made the 306 Maxi so special?
The engine, it was a masterpiece.
What was so special about it?
This thing was designed to rev beyond 10,000 RPM.
10,000.
Yeah, crazy, right?
That's insane.
And it was naturally aspirated, but it was pumping out power figures comparable to its turbocharged rivals.
I can only imagine the sound of that engine screaming at 10,000 RPM.
It must have been music to any motorsport fan's ears.
Definitely.
And, this engine, it came from the 406 STW touring car.
Oh, wow. So they took their racing technology and put it into the rally car.
They did. It shows their commitment to performance, their motorsport heritage.
And we can't forget the 306 Maxi's dominance in the French Rally Championship and the FIA 2-liter World Rally Cup.
It was a force to be reckoned with.
A true legend.
Absolutely. It cemented its place in motorsport history.
It's just amazing to me how this little hot hatch had this beast of a rally car within it.
It's a testament to the 306's potential.
And to Peugeot's engineering.
Absolutely. They knew how to build a car that could perform.
The 306 Maxi's success really shows what the 306 platform was capable of.
It does. It's a story of passion, performance, and pushing boundaries.
And a bit of an underdog story too, right?
Definitely. Defying expectations and achieving greatness.
I love that. It really is. It's amazing how the 306 S16 did so well, both on the track and as a road car.
It's pretty impressive, isn't it?
Makes me wonder what it's like to actually drive one today. To get behind the wheel of a 306 S16.
You're not just driving a car then, you're connecting with a piece of Peugeot's history.
Their sporting heritage, yeah.
It's like stepping back in time to when driving was more about feel.
That just pure speed.
Exactly. It's about the feedback, the connection between you and the machine.
Not just getting from point A to point B.
No, it's about enjoying the journey, savoring every corner, every gear change.
And the 306 S16, especially those later models, they really capture that feeling.
They did. It's that perfect blend of performance, practicality, and that understated style we were talking about.
Like the perfect mix of a daily driver and a weekend warrior.
You got it. Ready for anything.
Going through all this, I'm realizing the 306 S16 is kind of a classic underdog story.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, it starts with an engine that doesn't quite cut it.
Faces some criticism.
Has to overcome those initial setbacks.
But then, boom, the second generation comes along.
And blows everyone away.
Shows its true potential, silences the doubters,
It's a story of resilience, of refinement,
and ultimately achieving greatness.
despite those early challenges.
Exactly. It's a story we can all relate to on some level.
That struggle, the determination.
And that final triumph.
Speaking of defying expectations,
Hmm.
the 306 S16 was a bit of a rebel too.
Oh, yeah.
How so?
Especially when it came to its identity.
I mean, remember how Peugeot didn't use the GTI badge in France? It wasn't just about avoiding a negative image.
It was more than that.
It was a statement.
What kind of statement?
They were going against the grain,
Battling against the norms.
Exactly. They were charting their own course. So they were like, we're going to build an amazing driver's car, but on our terms.
We don't need to follow the GTI playbook.
They believed in the car, in its performance, in its driving dynamics.
And they knew that would be enough.
They didn't need to rely on flashy styling or anything like that.
No, it was a car for drivers who appreciated substance over style.
Drivers who understood what real driving pleasure was all about.
Exactly. It was all about the feeling, the connection.
And that 6-speed gearbox, it played a big role in that, didn't it?
Absolutely. It wasn't just about having an extra gear.
It was about the experience.
The ratios were perfectly chosen to keep the engine in its sweet spot to maximize agility and responsiveness.
It's amazing how something so technical can have such a huge impact on how a car feels.
It really is. And don't forget, this gearbox had its roots in motorsport.
The 205 Group A rally car
Exactly. A little bit of rally DNA in there.
adds to the story.
For sure, it shows that the 306 S16's performance wasn't just marketing hype.
It was backed up by Peugeot's motorsport heritage.
Their engineering expertise.
It wasn't just a product, it was a passion project.
They poured their heart and soul into creating a driving experience that was both thrilling and rewarding.
And it shows that, everything I've read about the 306 S16, it seems like it offers an experience that's just disappearing in modern cars.
You're right. It's that analog feel, that connection. It's becoming a rare thing.
A pure, unfiltered driving experience.
Exactly the way driving used to be.
A car that encourages you to push it, to explore its limits.
To become one with the machine.
And we have to talk about that chassis again. It's phenomenal.
It really is. One of the things that stands out is its versatility.
Versatility.
Yeah, you could take it on tight mountain roads.
Or blast down the motorway.
It could handle it all.
A true all-rounder.
It was composed, engaging, no matter the conditions.
They really nailed the engineering on that one.
They did. It wasn't just about performance figures. It was about how the car made you feel.
That connection between driver and car.
That's what makes the 306 S16 so special.
A car that speaks to the heart as much as the head.
A car that evokes emotion, passion, pure driving joy.
And that's something that transcends generations.
It does. Even today, the 306 S16 still has that power.
To captivate enthusiasts.
With its timeless design, its driving dynamics, its charm.
A true classic.
A car that deserves to be celebrated.
For sure.
For what it brought to the hot hatch world.
And for its lasting legacy.
Absolutely.
It's amazing how relevant the 306 S16 still feels,
It really is a testament to its design and its legacy as a driver's car.
I keep thinking about how it was kind of an underdog, exceeding expectations and all that.
That's a big part of its story, isn't it?
Yeah, it faced those challenges head on, evolved, and became this icon.
Shows that setbacks can sometimes lead to the most amazing things.
Absolutely. Peugeot was willing to listen, adapt, really refine their vision.
They took the criticism and turned it into an opportunity to grow.
And the result was a car that was even better than anyone expected.
Exactly. Proof that sometimes the best things come from overcoming adversity.
It's a message that resonates with everyone,
We've all faced challenges and come out stronger.
But looking ahead, I wonder where cars like the 306 S16 fit in now.
It's a good question.
With all the electrification and technology, will there still be a place for these raw, analog driving experiences?
A lot of enthusiasts are asking that same question.
For sure.
But I think deep down, people will always crave that connection between driver and machine.
That pure, unfiltered feedback.
It's becoming rare, but the 306 S16 embodies that spirit.
And I think that spirit will always have a place, with driving enthusiasts at least.
Absolutely. It's a different kind of driving experience.
More about feeling the road, responding to the car.
Becoming one with it.
And the 306 S16 with that steering, the chassis, the 6-speed gearbox.
It all comes together.
It's like it gives you the tools to become an artist on the road.
To experience driving in its purest form.
It's a timeless classic that continues to inspire, and it makes you appreciate the art of driving.
It really does.
As we wrap up this deep dive into the Peugeot 306 S16, I'm just filled with admiration for this car and what it represents.
It's been an incredible journey exploring its evolution, its wins, and its enduring appeal.
It deserves to be among the greats.
It does.
A testament to Peugeot's passion for innovation and for creating an exceptional driving experience.
Couldn't agree more.
And for everyone listening, we hope this deep dive has given you a new appreciation for the 306 S16 and its place in automotive history.
Maybe even inspired you to try one out for yourself.
That would be awesome.
What do you think? Where does the 306 S16 rank among your favorite Peugeots?
It's definitely up there.
How do you think it compares to modern hot hatches?
I think it holds its own.
Share your thoughts. We love hearing from fellow enthusiasts.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the Peugeot 306 S16.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you've enjoyed the ride.
And remember, a new episode of Vintage Car Chronicles drops every day.
On Spotify, Deezer,
Apple Music, YouTube.
all those great platforms.
Keep that passion for cars alive.
Until next time.
See you then.